What up, everybody? And now tuned into the true definition of a sports fanatic. I'm your host, Brandon Lampley, back today with another live stream. It feels good to be back in the barbershop. We talk a little sports, we have a little fun, and I called it. I told you which. This is not anything groundbreaking. This is not new information I'm giving you. This isn't anything that you already didn't know. You may not like my agree with my opinion. You may not feel the same way I feel about it, but you should already know Jimmy Butler is that dude. I tried to tell y'all Jimmy Butler is that guy. 56 points against the Milwaukee Bucks. They're up 3-1. That's the story of the playoffs to me, because going into that, you call me a Heat hater, call me whatever. I had the Bucks going to the finals. I did. At no point did I see Jimmy Butler and the Miami Heat putting the Bucks away like they seemingly are about to do. But I did say that Jimmy Butler is that guy, and if they are going to make any noise in the playoffs, Jimmy Butler has to be that guy, and he has been so far. But I appreciate everybody for tuning in. I got my co-host with me once again, Mr. John Reed. How you feeling today, sir?
Feeling good, my man. Preach on about Jimmy Butler.
I don't know, man. It just feel like he don't get enough. He don't get disrespected, but it's just like it's almost like he's forgotten because he's not flashy and he doesn't really talk. You know, he just let the game speak for itself. Almost kind of like Kawhi. Like the most publicity Kawhi gets is because he's hurt. You know, it's not because of his basketball right now. You know, outside of that, he doesn't get a whole lot either because they don't talk and they don't say a whole lot. They're not Dylan Brooks who are poking the bear and talking about you got to give me 40 and people old and stuff. And then when it's time for you to talk after you done got your butt kicked, you talking about I'm out. Did you see that? Yeah. Dylan Brooks, 2 games in a row after they got beat, he didn't want to talk about it no more.
Yeah. But, man, you know, Jimmy Butler, I think, is perceived to be a villain. And, you know, it's hard for villains to get, I don't know, regarded. I mean, he's definitely respected. But I think it's his personality, man. You know, he goes after you. I mean, he don't say a whole lot, but he backs up with his actions. And I just think he's a caliber player who always shows up in the playoffs. You know, if you're gonna see what is his MO is that he's gonna, you know, he to me, you watch him in the regular season and you watch him now. I mean, he done like raised his caliber of play like 17 notches, I think, and I just think
absolutely
that he's a guy who just. I love his will, you know. I mean, this guy get mad at teammates if they not hustling. I done seen him in games, even regular season games, where, you know, he had a little confrontation with the coach. but if you play with Jimmy, I mean, that's the whole problem why it didn't work with the Timberwolves, because he didn't think those guys.
I was about to bring that up. I'm glad you brought it up. I was about to bring it up.
He just didn't think they got heart and guts. You gotta bring it when you play on a team with Jimmy Butler, man, because he's gonna bring it. If you mess up, he's going to be on the sideline and might point at you and cuss you out a little bit, but he don't mean nothing personal by it, you know. But I like a guy like him on a team like the Heat, because I think he defines what they are. You know, they're a gritty team. They're not going to score a whole bunch of points. And if it takes 56 to win, then he's going to put in 56. So I like watching him.
Yeah. I love watching Jimmy, and that story of what he did to those boys in Minnesota, like, and I think they all were better for it afterwards, because you got to see a superstar up close and personal, see how they operate, and you saw that what you were giving wasn't good enough. That's basically what Jimmy was telling them. What you're giving me is not good enough. He get pissed off in practice, and he take the next 5 guys on the roster against the other starting 4 alongside him. He take the backups and he beat the 4 starters, like, and beat them soundly, and was very was almost disrespectful while doing it. Oh, I'm sure that broke their spirit. I'm sure, you know, and he can be, I guess, what you call, you know, a little abrasive. You know, he's like medicine. He's not sweet. It ain't gonna taste good going down, but it's probably good for you, you know? Yeah. So I mean, that's just Jimmy Butler.
And he speaks the truth, man. I mean, you look, I'll just say this real quick, man. If you look at that Minnesota Timberwolves team, and they're out, they won one game, I believe, but they're out. But you look at Karl Anthony Towns, and you look at Rudy Gobert, there's something still missing. You can have the Twin Towers, but there's something missing on that team, and I think it's got a lot to do with Towns. Karl Anthony Towns, I don't see a toughness that needed to be. I mean, I don't see enough leadership, and I don't see enough toughness. And he called that out 3 years ago, and it don't look like it's gotten any better. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So that's the lack of, in the Twitter streets and certain parts of social media, they talk about having that dog in you. And Karl Anthony Towns seems to lack said dog. I mean, it just is what it is, man. It's often imitated, never duplicated. But it's one of those things, either you have it or you don't.
Yeah.
Like, if I had to choose to deal with the dogs, I'm going to choose to deal with the dogs, because a guy like Jimmy, who is a dog, guess what? Dogs bite. Okay, cool. Dogs bite. Everybody know dogs bite. Not all dogs bite, but majority of dogs, they can bite. Every dog has the ability to bite. And I'd rather have dogs who bite and try to get them to stop biting than to have someone who's not a dog and trying to get them to bite. I mean, that's just what it is.
And just have guys who take things personal. I think the Miami Heat has taken that series personal, because they were swept by their same team a year ago, and they took it personal. I remember the first, I think it was game 1 or game 2, first thing that they interviewed Jimmy Butler, the first thing he said was, these guys, we can't allow them to take over, and we remember what they did to us last year, so we can't have that mistake. And I like this Heat team because they've been written off. They were scrappy. They barely made the play.
Yeah,
barely made the play in. And they're not a flashy team. I mean, they don't, I mean, Jimmy Butler is the guy, but they're a gritty team. They go out, they get the second chance. I mean, they go get offensive rebounds. They play gritty defense, but there's
not very good offensively.
Yeah, but they're not like the Lakers. I mean, they're not Showtime, but they get it done. And I like that. I like that kind of grit and grind, and we're going to take you, we're going to tell you we're going to take you, we're going to take you to a place you don't want to go, and they take you there. And Milwaukee got problems, man. I mean, this best player, I'm assuming that he still have a shoulder injury. I don't know what's going on. Drew don't, I mean, Drew don't look like that great all-one ball defender that we know he is, but he's having some difficulty on both ends of the floor. And then, I don't know, man. I mean, you allow a guy to score 56 points on you.
Hey, and we talked about that and how Drew Holiday is arguably the best wing defender in the league. Now, there may be somebody you can make arguments for, but that's been his crown for the last couple of years. They got images of him on Twitter where talking about what the ball handler sees when he's being guarded by Drew Holiday, and they had a Drew Holiday in front and on each side of him. Like that's how it feels. He feel like he's locking guys down, and Jimmy Butler is absolutely having his way. He's having whatever he wants. They can't stop it. They can't do anything about it. But the good thing about it is if you could slow Jimmy down, there's nobody else that can fill that void. Now you may have somebody who gets hot here and there, but Miami's offense sputters because they don't have anything outside of Jimmy that can really, really attack you.
I blame it on Milwaukee's coach, Budenholzer or whatever his name.
I
don't think he makes adjustments. I think if you look into history, they're always gonna lose game 1. They have to have time to figure things out. And I don't think he's the greatest coach when it comes to making necessary adjustments. I mean, it showed the other night. I mean, here's a guy with 56 points. I mean, I would think if you got a double, triple, get the ball out of his hand, foul, do something, but you can't allow the guy to dominate you, particularly in the fourth quarter. I mean, you got to find a way of use fouls, bring guys off the bench who just play physical basketball, play them straight up head to head, and he didn't do that.
No, he didn't do that. He didn't do that. So, I've kept a close eye on that series. But also this man LeBron James. Man, dude, it just down the stretch. I mean, he 20 points, 20 rebounds, and somebody say, well, Dylan Brooks asked for 40. That's 40, 20 points and 20 rebounds. I mean, what more can you say? I mean, at this point, only thing that they can say about LeBron and criticize him about is that he doesn't have the numbers that he had when he was 10 years younger. Like, they're comparing 38-year-old LeBron to 28-year-old LeBron. And that's how you know he's great. Like, you can't even compare him to anybody today. You have to compare him to his old self. I mean, that shows his greatness.
We talked about this on the previous show. Hey, look at Jordan at 38. Look at LeBron at 38. That's all you got to say.
That's it. That's it. That is it.
This guy had, 20 points and 20 rebounds? I don't have much more else to say.
Yeah. It's what it is. And the Grizzlies, Mr. Dylan Brooks, man, you got to lean all the way into the heel, man. You got to lean all the way into it. I'm sure what Dylan Brooks was told, what he was advised by his coaches and the organization, and probably even some of his teammates, was, hey, you need to chill out. They probably told him to wrap it up, back off of it, and let it go. And this is his way of doing so. But I'm like, hey, damn that. Go ahead and be Draymond Green. Go ahead, lean all the way into it, man. Because just that whole buddy thing that seemed to be the thing now, where everybody seemed to be buddy. I like somebody who plays the heel. I like somebody who you can hate and go after. I mean, that's what makes sports what it is,
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I do appreciate Draymond Green. Some of his antics irk me a little bit because he do them at the wrong times, but he's necessary. Just like Dylan Brooks is necessary. Like Jimmy Butler, his attitude, it's necessary, man. This is not all, we homeboys and we all going to Cancun after the playoffs. Like this, it's not that,
Yeah. And I say this about the Lakers, man. I mean, if you watch this team, well, we all watched them in November and December, and they pulled the trigger. They probably were forced to pull the trigger to improve that roster. But I like their talent. I think they got a strong bench. You can play your parts. I mean, everybody seemed to be playing their roles. Even AD is trying to play through an injury.
Yeah, he was struggling the other night, but he is some key putbacks, key rebounds, key defense, especially down the stretch. He finished the game, I think, much better than he played throughout the duration of it. So he is still. I mean, and I give him his credit. He is playing through injury because. Man, if anybody has seen, is it Desmond Bain? If anybody has ever seen Desmond Bain's arms, the boy got 22-inch pythons. This just, I mean, he jacked. I mean, it's ridiculous. Like, it look like if he slap you, he gonna slap skin off your face. That's how strong he looked, and he elbowed Anthony Davis right in the eye. So I give him a little bit of grace on that. Give him a little bit of grace on that. He hit him square right in that eyebrow. So, he's playing through it. He's playing probably through some other pains and aches, just as is everybody else. But, they're playing right now. It's 24-28. I think this series is over. I think the Lakers close them out tonight.
Yeah.
But also, we just talked about this, and I think we'll wrap up the playoff talk. The Warriors. The Warriors are, probably, man, one of the luckiest when it has come to injuries in the playoffs. Their opponents getting injured in the playoffs. Because you had that year where what was that? Zaza Pachulia knocked Kawhi out. CP3 got the hamstring. Was that against? Was that was Houston in the Houston series? You know, now De'Aaron Fox finger is fractured. He has a fractured finger now, and De'Aaron Fox was, I mean, he getting anything he wanted. They can't stop him. They can't defend him. They can't do anything about it. They've thrown multiple bodies at him. Klay Thompson definitely can't stick him. He ain't got no lift no more. Steph Curry is too small. And Andrew Wiggins' head is not completely in the game right now. So I don't know what you're going to do. I just don't know. Only thing you can do is, hope for an injury. And look what's happened. It's an injury.
Yeah. And you hate to see that. Personally,
I hate to see that. Hate to see it.
I think the Kings I might get vilified, but I think the Kings if you look at the Kings roster, you look at the Warriors roster, I think the symbol of talent on the Kings is better than the symbol of talent for the Warriors, to be honest, you know. And
more complete roster.
I think those guys, I think the only thing standing in the Kings' way right now is lack of playoff experience, you know. But I think they got, Mike Brown, I think they got a great coach. I think that they play that up tempo. They could spread you out and shoot from the perimeter. I think they playing the style they playing in a winning style of basketball. And I just don't see it. I'm going to say this. I know they're a lucky team, a lucky franchise. I just do not see the Warriors making it all the way to the finals this year. I don't. I think they're missing something. They can't win on the road. They winning by luck. I feel just like what you said. When the Kings top player basically, hurt his hand. But I think luck sometimes is gonna run dry, and I don't see this Warriors team making that run all the way to the finals. I mean, I'm not even saying repeating as champion. I say they won't make it to the finals. I don't think they get, if they get past the Kings, I don't think they get past the next round, whoever that might be, the Suns or
Memphis or LA.
Memphis or LA. I don't think they can get by the Lakers. I don't.
Yeah, I don't either. I don't either, because you can't. Who's going to guard LeBron?
Yeah, who's going to guard LeBron, and who knows?
Who's going to guard AD?
AD might show up and average 30 points and 15 rebounds in that series, but I think the Lakers' overall depth is going to be a factor in that series if it happens, and I think their depth, their perimeter shooting, and Mr. Reeves or whatever,
Austin Reeves. I like Austin Reeves.
Yeah, I mean, here's a guy that can handle the ball and shoot from the perimeter and drive to the basket. So I think the Warriors got their work cut out, and I think they know it. I think, I know you don't put a big read on the long regular season, but when a team have a problem throughout the regular season to win on the road, it does carry over into the playoffs. I mean, they were a bad road team, and I just cannot say, okay, they're just going to turn it around, win on the road, turn up the notch of playing the way they need to play and get back to that caliber of championship basketball. And I just don't think they can turn the switch on and off this year. So, And they had guys who've missed a lot of time too. And I don't know. I've been saying this for a while. I don't know if Thompson is that player no more. I mean, I'm sure he can hit an open shot, but I think almost defensively he's been like a liability in this series. He can't stay in front of Fox. I mean, I just think he's been a liability defensively, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that if De'Aaron Fox can't go, if they somehow pull this out, I think it ends with the Lakers. Only thing that can aid the Warriors at this point, because they can't win on the road, they can't defend. They have an issue with perimeter stars on the perimeter. They can't defend on the perimeter, which is one of the one of the things that they were able to do. Klay Thompson took on that task night in and night out by guarding the best wing on the other team. Steph has gotten better as a defender. Give him his credit. But he's not that. I mean, he don't have enough bricks in his back pocket. He's not big enough.
And one thing I would say about the playoffs that people don't really talk a lot about, and it don't even always have to be assistant coaches, but when you have a guy like Coach Brown, Mike Brown, who's know everything ins and out about the Warriors, and he comes up with a game plan that takes away things that they like to do well, believe me, the Lakers going to emulate a lot of the stuff that the Kings, that's working for the Kings, and they're going to execute those things. And I think they're going to execute it to a point that the Warriors won't be able to overcome it.
Oh yeah, and then this, I highly doubt that LeBron is going to let this opportunity to put the nail in their coffin let it go by. I mean, I'm pretty sure he's going to be very motivated. I mean, the man has won, 4 titles. He's been to the finals 10 times. But it will be even sweeter for him to put the nail in the Warriors' coffin, because this could possibly be their last go round together. Because I don't see Draymond Green continuing on this team. I
think it's it. I think he knows it too. So.
Yeah,
it's the last dance.
Hey, maybe they're gonna come out with theirs 20 years from now.
It's gonna be the last dance. Easily be for him. It's his last dance. I'd say that.
Yes, it is. So, man, we're gonna leave it right there. We're gonna enjoy some of those playoff games. I know some people watching it right now, so I know a lot of people catch the replay. See, Grizz are up by 11 right now, 11:36 left in the second. Knicks are up by 10, 61-51 at halftime. Heat and Bucks at 9:30, Warriors and Kings at 10. So definitely be checking out that Lakers and it's a bit of that Heat and Bucks. But that 10 o'clock, man, I know I'm gonna fall asleep on that. I can't stay up like that. I gotta go to work
in a row and I can't.
Yeah, I tried, man. I can't do it. But so we're going to stay in the NBA, but we're moving on to Mr. Phil Jackson. And Phil Jackson has had some interesting comments. He went on a show with, I think this was with Rick Rubin. And let's see what Phil Jackson has had to say that has caused a stir. And I don't know. I think Phil does this on purpose sometimes because he goes viral and he gets attention, because he'll say something every now and then, like his posse comment not too long ago. Which don't seem that long ago, but it was a few years ago, and he said some other things that has caught people's attention. But let's see what the new thing is. His next play for attention, allegedly.
Do you still watch a lot of basketball or
no? I don't.
Tell me about that. When and did you stop immediately from the time you stopped coaching?
No, I didn't. I watched some of the game evolve and decided, and they went into the lockout year and they did something that was kind of wanky. They did a bubble down in Orlando, and all the teams that could qualify went down there and stayed down there.
No audience.
And they had things on their back like, Justice. And I made a little funny thing like, Justice just went to the basket and Equal Opportunity just knocked him down. And somebody had another name for a guy who has jersey in the back of the jersey had some other slogan. So my grandkids thought that was pretty funny to play up those names. So I couldn't watch that. And the Lakers won, actually. They won that year. And
do you feel like it just made little of the game, like it made it like a sideshow? What do you think it was that turned you off?
Well, it was they even had slogans on the floor, on the baseline. It was catering. It was trying to cater to an audience or trying to bring a certain audience into play. And they didn't know it was turning other people off, People want to see sports as non-political. We've had a lot of different type of players that have gone on to be like, Bill Bradley was a senator, number of baseball players been representatives and senators and political, but their politics stay out of the game.
Yeah, it's separate.
Doesn't need to be there.
So now after listening to that, and because reading something that he said versus listening to how he said it, that's one thing. That's why I hate text messaging, because you never can get tone over text. I'd rather talk to you in person or over the phone. But listening to him say this, now the first thing I'm going to get him on is that sports has always been political.
Yeah.
Always.
Even when he played.
Always. It's always been political. It's always been a part of the game. What he's saying, though, is he doesn't like the way they do it now.
Mm-hmm.
And I agree. Now I'm on board with him on the way they do it now, because it doesn't mean anything. It's empty gestures.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bunch of crap written like on the court, on the back of jerseys, on the back of helmets, diversity, inclusion, peace, justice, Black Lives Matter, all that stuff that are just pretty wording that don't mean anything. You haven't changed anything. You haven't operated differently. Now, the NBA is a little different when it comes to that stuff than the NFL is. The NFL is just kind of like in your face with it. We don't care.
Yeah.
The NBA at least seemingly tries to care. What up, Dale? Dale is in the building. What's going on, man?
Hey, what's happening? What's happening?
But yeah, it's this is very interesting, because there's a lot of people who have this same mindset and feeling towards the game that he has, and it goes beyond races, because he's a white man, but this is black people feel the same way. It's people of all races who will feel the same way. But even to those people, they know that it's always been political. It's just the way that they're doing it now. I have no problem with whatever your cause is, whatever your social justice thing is, whatever you're trying to do, but I don't necessarily need to see it in between dunks. Mm-hmm. So I do get that. Some people might not have an issue with it, but the issue that I have with it is that when they do these things, they ultimately mean nothing. It's nothing behind the things that they're doing now. But sports has always been political.
And I'll say this, Brandon, even from the Jaguars, I don't think that professional teams, and I'll use the Jaguars as an example, I don't think they go into the inner city. I don't think that they have a relationship with the schools. I don't think that they do enough for the people who may not can afford to go to their games regularly. And if you're going to put social justice and you're putting that diversity matters, and you're not even doing the basics, which is reach out and touch people who may be part of your audience. They probably watch your sport, but they don't have the money to buy your season tickets or buy sweeps, luxury boxes and those kind of things. And I think if you're going to put slogans up and don't connect with the whole community, then I think you're a false prophet. I think that you're doing things just to say you're doing them, but there's no action behind your words. And I do feel that the NFL is more guilty than the NBA, because there are NBA players who will go into the inner city community, host basketball tournaments, get somewhere where a kid can reach out and touch, and they'll do that more than the NFL, because I don't think the teams do enough. And I know individuals. There are players in the NFL that will reach out to the inner city community, but there are from a league standpoint, I don't think they do enough. And I agree with him to the point that when you're just making blanket statements, or you're putting stuff on the court, or you just trying to be in because that's the in thing at the moment, and you don't have any substance behind it, you actually lose fans and not gain them, And then when you hear these hollow, that's why the commissioner of the NFL, when you asking him the question of where your progress at, what are you doing, and you coming out with hollow answers where you got a response, but you're not you really not saying nothing, then that's a problem. And then when you're not saying nothing during your State of the League address in the Super Bowl, 6 months roll around and we go back to training camp and we start the football season, and here we go again. Social justice, and we're supporting this and we're supporting that. But the man that runs your league, he can't even answer these questions in February. But yet again, here's another season, here's another slogan, and it's just hollow. I mean, you catering just to say we did, but you're not doing anything. You're not doing enough, you know. And when you're making $5 or $6 billion as a business, you know, that supposed to cater to everyone, then you're not doing your job. And I agree with him when he says that it shouldn't be, if you put this slogan up on the floor, and then are they really concerned about it, and then it's no action, then it, you know, I say that's a false prophet.
Yeah. And without saying it, Phil said it without saying it. He probably don't even realize he brought light to this. And Dale got comments. I'm gonna get Dale's comments. But Phil Jackson is basically telling you, well, all of this, they're doing all of this, but nothing's changed.
Yeah.
Phil's basically telling you, like, okay, yeah, I see what y'all doing on the court and on the jerseys, but yeah, I'm still operating the same. I mean, Phil was in the belly of the beast. He knows exactly what goes on. So you mean to tell me, so we just putting pretty words up and that's what we're doing? Is that the way you guys are? He said you're catering to a certain crowd, and you're catering to the breadcrumb crowd. The crowd where you like, oh, here you go. We'll do this and do that and do this, you know, and maybe, you know, you'll be satisfied with this and satisfied with that. And it's kind of catering to that Twitter woke mob, man. And it's gotten to a point where people are like, yo, what happened to, because I remember back in the day, anytime teams would have initiatives, or they would go out to the community, or they'll have anything that was like social justice or anything like that, they do it, record a little bit of it, talk about it. You know, they'll talk about whatever thing they got going on with the players, what their cause is, and all of that. Now it's just words.
And I say this, Brandon, because I've been around these guys. You cannot have one turkey giveaway, which is good. You're giving away turkeys. Then you don't come back to that community. These kids will never see you again. I feel if you just going in that community one time to give some turkeys and that's it, and they never see you again, you might as well don't even come in there. I mean, that's how I feel about it. You know, if you're gonna reach out and touch, well, reach out and touch. You have off days on Tuesday. I know the Jaguars used to have on their off day where they would have like these different events. They'll go to a hospital or somewhere as a community service event. Well, I like to see some of those community service events in Northside, in Sherwood, and in those places, and
out east,
yeah. And don't go one time, you know.
Yeah,
bring some friends and maybe come once a month. I'm not, you know, I don't know what the rate would be, but you're gonna talk to kids. Let's do it a little bit more than one time a year.
yeah. Hey, why y'all can't get an event going on Florida Ave? Give Florida Ave some love.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
right.
You know,
so I mean, it is
what
it is.
Want to reach out and touch a professional athlete. That we don't just want to see them. You know, you got to reach out at the game and put your program out and holler his name, and he might sign it. You know, I mean that's I think the professional athlete job is a little bit more than that.
Yeah. You see, they'll say, I'll be straight up with you. I watch sports not only to get away from politics, TV, social media stuff, but everyday life all together. And so the key thing in what Dale said is TV, social media stuff. That's what it is. And that's what this is. That's what they're doing. And that all this is TV, social media stuff. So this is following the lead of TV and social media and Twitter and the woke mob. You say, and all my friends know me. I'm a sucker for info and different perspective. I say changes in the individual, not the group. Yeah. If you want, hey, if you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and make the change. It's just what it is. They say some of my best friends are African American. We have very in-depth conversations. You can't be afraid to ask the hard questions. That's how you learn perspective. Yeah, and there's a lot to gain from having conversations with people who have different opinions from you. There's a lot to be gained. If it's done in the right way, it can be productive. You can't shut people down just because their opinion differs. It's just what it is. Now, if they're, there's a certain point where, if they're insensitive, they're ist or ism or something like that, that could be hateful or something like that. Okay, you're not going to gain anything by any debate with said person because it's what it is. But just because somebody has a different perspective and opinion, you still should be able to have civil discourse and being able to talk and being able to disagree and walk away or agree.
Yeah.
But we've lost that.
Yeah.
It's my way or the highway now.
Because we live in a world now where you can't make anyone mad or everybody got to agree. Even publicly, you have to agree, even when you don't agree. You got to do the public thing that's right. And I think we've lost a lot on debate. Debate is not bad. Debate is something where you want to hear different sides. Everybody doesn't have the same viewpoint, and you like to have a debate or discussion to come to reach an agreement. And I think we live in a world now, if you say something that's not the way it's supposed to be said, then you get chastised, you lose your job, you don't fit what they're asking or what they expect from you. And I think everybody now is scared to speak. I think they're scared to speak conviction of what they truly believe in because of fear of repercussions, which is what do we stand for in America? I mean, I surely don't think that's the way American was supposed to be,
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Dale he said, I refuse to lose that. Absolutely, Dale.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Because that ability to have conversations with those who have different perspectives and being able to, hey, agree to disagree and accept them for who they are, dude, that's a rare ability today. Because now it's so well, you don't think the way I think, so I want you out of here. I want you canceled. Buddy of mine sent a cartoon to me, and in the cartoon, they have the like the like they have like it's like a little drag show. And the drag show's going on, and somebody says, "Oh, I don't like this. Why are they doing this?" And the person is like, somebody in the crowd's like, "Why do you care? Why are you worried about what's over here?" And then he opens up his phone, and it's a woman says, "I like to cook for my husband." He's like, "Oh my God, I can't believe she said that." Lit itself on fire, went up to the top floor of the building, and jumped off. Like I say, that's an example of where we are right now. It's crazy to me.
And I say this country, if you go back to almost every election that they've had in the presidential from even George Washington days, well, he didn't get elected, he was appointed, but every election in this country, there's been debates. Why? Because when you debate something, it influences people's decisions and it allows people to know what you stand for. And if that's the fabric of this country, for Lord knows, I don't know what happened to the fabric because there's a such thing as debate is not bad, especially if it's done in the right way. But you can't have debates. Everybody got to be thinking alike for whatever reason.
Yeah, absolutely. It's crazy how it is today. Excuse me, y'all. I'm still getting over. I don't know what this was. I got something. I'm still getting over it. See, knowledge is power. People forget that. Absolutely.
We can all learn from them.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So we are going to leave it right there. And hold on just a second. I got to get me some cough drops because I am struggling over here. So hold on just a second.
Okay. Yeah, man. The world we live in. I hope it get better. We got a lot going on around the world. It's one reason.
Yes, we do. We absolutely do.
On sports to get away from the real world, man.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and we're gonna leave it right there. We're gonna get into some NFL. We're gonna talk about the NFL draft is tomorrow, and I haven't had real time to really do a ton of research on a lot of the prospects. I know some of the top guys, but I haven't really been able to do a deep dive on some of the later round guys and like third rounders, fourth rounders, fifth rounders, stuff like that. But Jacksonville at 24, there's been so many guys who've been mocked to them. Like it's no way to really get a real handle on who the Jaguars are really interested in and who they may pick. All we can go by is what they need, So we was just gonna look at some of the top prospects. A lot of these guys you may know already. I personally think that this kid should go number one. Whoever needs the quarterback, if you need the quarterback, if you're gonna take a quarterback, whether that's number 1, 2, or whatever, Bryce Young, I think, should be the guy.
Mm-hmm.
That's just my personal opinion. I think that he's an excellent passer of the football. He has the best arm talent in the entire draft. I didn't say the strongest arm. He has the best arm talent. I think he's the most accurate passer of the ball. More athletic than you think. He is slight of build, though. He's small. But if I had to take a guy, man, I'm taking Bryce Young.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I think he's, I think when you look at the draft, you look at, okay, who's the most polished, who's the most ready, when you look back on the college career, who rolls, I don't take that stuff for granted. That if a guy, as he did at Alabama, I remember the game against Texas where it didn't look like they may win, but he found a way to get them in the end zone. And I don't think you take that kind of stuff for granted, because what it shows to me is a young man who knows how to win. And you can have all the coaching in the world, but if you got something special, which I think this kid has, and I think that's what you look for. You look for the intangibles. You look for, well, what did he do against the best competition, and how NFL ready is he? And I think this kid checks all the boxes. He's a winner. He's a proven winner. And I'm almost to the point that, man, I don't see anything to indicate that he's not going to be what he's expected to be. So, whatever the naysayers have, I don't think it's going to be a problem that Bryce Young is a quarterback. And I know people talking about what he's listed as 5'11", but who
sub 200?
Yeah, all you gotta do is go back to Drew Brees and see if he can find angles and passing lanes to get the ball to those receivers. So I think he's smart enough to do that also.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, Bryce Young, and then we'll get on to the next one. But Bryce Young, I was like, Bryce Young is that guy. That guy moment was against Auburn 2 years ago.
Yep.
They couldn't move nothing. Couldn't move the ball at all. Auburn led majority of the game, and they couldn't move the ball. And all of a sudden, last drive of the game, Bryce Young, from seemingly nowhere, put together a drive. I forgot how long it was, but put together a drive, goes down to get the game time touchdown. I'm like, dude, this kid he's ice water in his veins, man. It was absolutely amazing. I mean, he could do nothing right all game, and all of a sudden he was unstoppable. They couldn't stop him.
And that's not.
It reminds me of Trevor.
Yeah, I say that Nick Saban, one of the best college coaches ever to be the coach. But hey, man, sometimes it's God gift talent too, and I think Bryce Young got some God gifted ability.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
and one more thing, man, the way I see the Carolina Panthers, I just feel, hey man, if you go out and get C.J. Stroud, Bryce Young, whatever, it'll be better than what your situation has been. You know.
Yes. Yes.
So
Yeah.
they need a jolt.
Yeah, they do. And dude, I'm not riding the Anthony Richardson train in the first round.
Me either.
Not in the first round.
Yeah.
Nope, not doing it. He's a project player.
Yep.
And yes, his upside is high, and teams having interest in him is going to push his value up. But he's right now, I would not take him in the first round. I just wouldn't, because he's going to need time. If he goes anywhere high, the chances of him playing early are high, and he does not need to play early. He's not. I don't think he's ready. Now, he may surprise all of us, but dude, I'm not. I can't. And I'm going to give him some of the blame. I have to give him some of the blame because it's not all on his coach, but Napier might not be that guy. So I give him a little bit of mulligan because of Napier and the way they used him, but I can't buy into it. Now, Will Levis is a little different, I think, but I've been hearing about him going number one overall. I'm not taking Will Levis number one overall either. No, I'm just not. I'm not doing it.
Every point you made, man, and I say this about Anthony Richardson, man. We've seen quarterbacks, big, strong arm, then they'll become a flop in the NFL.
Yes.
And I'm just saying this kid could be a great quarterback. I just don't think he's ready. I mean, I think if you go anywhere, you go to a team where he can learn from an established star quarterback. But if a team is willing to wait, I mean, like the ones in the playoffs that I'm speaking of that really don't have to. Well, one of those teams, I guess what I'm trying to say, it wouldn't best serve any team for Anthony Richardson unless you didn't need him. Like one of these playoff teams that needs a strong backup and got the investment already at that position that they can.
Yeah, he needs time.
Yeah, he needs time. I'm looking at a mock draft right now, PFF mock draft, and they got this kid going to the Houston Texans, number 2 overall. And that just, I mean, sometimes these mock drafts, you just shake your head, talking about go big or go home. And Richardson provide elite traits and tools. Yes, he does. But
yes, he does.
Yeah, if I'm drafting him number 2, I'll be starting my number 2 pick on opening day. This kid is not ready to be that. Okay.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Like if Bryce Young goes to Carolina, CJ Stroud goes to, say, Indianapolis, they should be the day one starters. No question about it. No question about it. Anthony Richardson is not ready to be that.
Yeah. And I'm trying to see how in the world Anthony Richardson grades higher than the kid from Ohio State, CJ.
There ain't no way. There's no way. There's no way. There's no way. So, but we're going to keep going down this list a little bit. We're going to motor through it a little bit. See, you got Will Anderson Jr., man. I'm a Bama guy, so I watched him. Will Anderson Jr., I think, is as advertised, man. He reminds me of Von Miller.
Yeah.
Bijan Robinson. I mean, this is every year, seemingly you'll have a running back that'll sneak up the boards and go in the first round. I mean, running backs are something that you can find. So I haven't been on board with taking one early because I think you can always find them. But from Bijan grades out to be a really, really good running back. Like he's grading out to be. They got him on like a LaDainian Tomlinson trajectory as far as him staying healthy and what type of back he can be, because he can seemingly do it all and he has great size. But I do like Bijan. I don't know though. I don't know if I'm taking him spending money on the running back in the first round. I don't know, because you can find him. You see Tyree Wilson. This is the guy right here. See, look, he was previously number 1. He's dropped to number 4. This is probably the best player in the entire draft. Jalen Carter, defensive tackle from Georgia.
Oh yeah, no question.
if Jalen, if he drops out of the top 10 and he's like lingering in the teens, and you see 13, 14, and he's lingering, Jacksonville need to be on the phone. I'm going to get him. Yeah. I'm going to get him. I'm sorry. That's just what it is. Jalen Carter, he's that guy, and he'll solve whatever inside D tackle issues that you have for the next decade.
Yeah,
no problem.
No question. I see something talking about this kid, probably the best defensive tackle prospect in the past 10 years.
Yes.
Yes. I don't think you can judge things on just what done happened recently. You look at his body of work. Go look at the big games and see that he show up in those big games.
Oh, man, go watch them against LSU.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, man, when you see the way he ragdolls offensive linemen, I mean ragdolling. It's reminiscent of Aaron Donald, Chris Jones, and Jeffrey Simmons from Tennessee. I mean, the dude is powerful guy, and who can move like a player, he can move much faster than his size. You know, like they say right here. They said has the change of direction ability of a player 40 to 50 pounds lighter than him. He can use pure power to run through single blocks, possess the quickness to split double teams. Against the run, he is firm and strong at the point of attack and has the range to make plays on the perimeter. So you can put him inside or outside. But I'm putting him right at D tackle from day one.
Yeah, I tell you what, if I was coaching and just what you just said, a guy with range to make tackles on either side.
What up, Master Chief?
Split blocks, versatile, can play on either side. That's the kind of I don't need no more convincing.
Yeah.
I don't need any more convincing that this kid is can help my football team. So
yeah. And see, and this draft is it's a bit of a strange one because the talent, man, it's seemingly all over the place. There's only a few consensus guys, as far as top guys, but like Devin Witherspoon, he's ranked 6th on this big board, but I've seen him go as low as 24 to the Jags. So it's all over the place. He can go top 10 or he can slip into the 20s. They got CJ Stroud. Any of those teams. If you're not taking Bryce Young, I mean, if you prefer a bigger guy, a bit more of an arm, I will say CJ Stroud is your guy. I don't think he's better than Bryce Young, but he is bigger. I think he has a nice delivery, has a strong arm, more athletic than you think. And I think he can be very successful on the next level. I've stopped judging guys based on their supporting cast. Yeah. Because you play with who you play with. So they'll say, "Oh, well, he played with, NFL receivers." Yeah, he did. Mm-hmm. He was supposed to be good when he played with NFL receivers, right? Well, he was. He did what he was supposed to do. So I can't knock him for the talent he played with. Just like you can't knock Trevor because he had T. Higgins and those guys. He played at Clemson. That's what it is. He's going to have top talent. If he go there and flop, that's an issue. Same with Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow was throwing the NFL talent. A lot of those guys. Deshaun Watson throwing to NFL talent. Mm-hmm. He can do it. Mm-hmm. So I think CJ Stroud is your next guy.
And then just looking over, look like this draft got some good edge rushers. Look like strong at cornerback. I don't think the receivers is as strong as it was a year ago. As a collective group, look like they got some good tackles. So it looks like, and I don't even know if it's a strength at quarterback. I think
it's two guys and then a bunch of other guys.
Yeah, a bunch of other guys. So I think this is draft probably going to be, probably what your specific need as a franchise probably be top priority. And then they probably just go best available. I mean, that's probably what it looked like. Because some of these guys look like they're going to, gonna drop. I mean, I see maybe two cornerbacks might be picked in the top 12 picks. So I mean, the top 10 picks with Weatherspoon and the kid from Oregon. So that's a little different.
Yeah, you talking about Christian Gonzalez from Oregon?
Yeah. So
Okay.
That's a little different to have. I mean, on some mock draft, that's what it looks like. But I always say, I mean, I think cornerback is an important position. I think the Jaguars wouldn't hurt at all if they go draft one, particularly if you just play them at nickel. I just think it's always I almost to the point that you can never have enough talent at cornerback, from depth of injuries to what. So
shoot, Christian Gonzalez, Joey Porter Jr. Dale brought up Joey Porter Jr. He's another one that they could take at 24. I mean, any of the corners you take, whether you take any of the DBs. So let's say Brian, where's Brian Branch? Let's see where Brian Branch is on here, if he's even on here. But you could take Brian Branch. You could take Devin Witherspoon. You could take Christian Gonzalez, Joey Porter Jr. I think they're the starting day nickel. No question about it. I think they're the starting day nickel corner.
For the Jags?
Yes, for the Jags.
I agree with you. Hey, man, if you go out and get a young cat that can play that nickel position and you got that position solidified for the next 5-6 seasons, I'm all for it,
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Nolan Smith is another guy. I think he's going to be gone by the time they pick at 24. I think they did bring him in for a visit. I think he may be gone. Let's see. Darnell Wright is another tackle that can be in consideration at 24. Who else? It was another prospect. Michael Mayer. That's another guy. I wouldn't be surprised if you see Michael Mayer at 24 for the Jaguars, a tight end. Like you say, you can never have too many weapons. I think he can do it all. He can block and catch. And I wouldn't mind having him at 24.
Yeah. I would hope that they would, and this probably not going to happen with a Trent Baalke draft. I'll say this overall, and I'm not going to sit up here and say I've been really eyeing these prospects, but I would like to see, I'll say this, I would like to see the Jags this year. I know last year was defense heavy draft, but if you can, you go through some of these middle rounds of this draft, and you can add another weapon for Trevor in this offense. I think they got great weapons right now. I'm not going to change what they have, but I think they need on offense. I would not have a problem with them getting whether you make them a swing tackle or whatever you do. I think they might need to look at the offensive line and look at tight end. Just add another weapon, as you said. And if I was them, I had another receiver, but who am I?
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, I like Quentin Johnston from TCU. I do like him. I do like Rashee Rice from SMU. So that's another receiver you can add. Another guy who I really like. He's a running back as well, and he could go first round. He's starting to creep up the boards, but that's Jahmyr Gibbs. Jahmyr Gibbs has elite speed, man.
That's what they know. Yep.
We talking about elite speed Jahmyr Gibbs has, and he catches the ball out of the backfield. He's pretty decent in pass pro. Man, his comparison is to Alvin Kamara, but they say not as strong as Alvin, because Alvin, his balance is absolutely amazing and he's very strong. But Jahmyr beats him in speed.
Yeah. Hey, if you can add speed on that field, along with Trevor and the guys that they got out there as weapons now, man, that's what they need. You can do a lot with a running back with speed, man. He ain't just gotta hand them the ball and let them go up the middle either. So,
Now, this is a guy who's going to be available, I think, at 24. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes right before, but he should be available. And that's Brian Branch. And he played nickel corner in Alabama, and he played safety.
Yeah.
So Brian Branch, I think, will be a great pickup. He's opening day starter at nickel corner.
Yeah, he's a ball player. I've seen him play.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, he's a ball player. The Jags have also shown interest in Brian Breesy, the defensive tackle from Clemson. So I keep my eye out for them. His name has been coming up. He's starting to shoot up the boards as well. Jalen Hyatt, dude, has a lot of speed. I like him. I don't know. He's kind of cooled off a little bit, but I think you're getting a really good ball player in Jalen Hyatt, and he's fast. There's no doubt about it. I mean, he made the Alabama defenders look slow. The boy's fast.
Yeah. Let me ask you this: do you think that? Well, I think for the last for the last 3 drafts, they've made a trade. You think these guys will trade up at any point in this draft?
If a top 10 prospect falls out of the top 10 and start to hit those teams, like I say, like a Jalen Carter. Jalen Carter hits 13, 14, 15, somewhere up in there. You got to be on the phone. I mean, you have to be. You have to be. I would assume that if you like him that much, if a guy that they covet in the top 10 falls, I could definitely see them drafting up because Balky has no issue seemingly trading up.
Do you think they'd do it for just to get rid of some of those draft picks?
I mean, they could. I mean, they do have a lot of extra draft picks, and you're going to get even more with the departure of Arden Key and Jawan Taylor. Jawan Taylor is definitely a third. That's a third round compensatory pick. So you're going to get picks back. So I could see Balky and Doug saying, "Hey, we're going to get picks back anyway. What can we do to help the team today?"
Yeah. I say this, man. If Jalen Carter, as you said, dropped anywhere from 12 to 15 or 16, which I don't think he'll drop that far, I'll be on that phone. I'll be on that phone if he drops in that 12 to 14, 15 range. I'll be on the phone with no question.
Yeah, absolutely. No question.
Yeah.
No question. So before we wrap this up, so your prediction for the 24th pick on tomorrow night, who they taking at 24? I'm going with Brian Branch, DB, Alabama. That's who I'm going with.
Man, I don't know, but I say Trent Balky. You never know what type of poker player he is. So he might just go and say, "Oh, I like this kid from Clemson, this Miles Murphy, and we need to strengthen our defensive front. We lost one of our top, developing players, and I'm just throwing that out there. I think he'll go with an edge player off the radar and get this kid from Clemson, Miles Murphy."
Yeah, Miles Murphy.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
But I'll say this from experience, man. This GM, he knows how to fold them. I mean, he never allow you to count his cards. I mean, we have no idea what he might pull.
Right.
He could trade the pick.
The face is legendary.
Yeah, he could trade the pick and not even go for the first round and get extra second, third picks, which I don't think he should do that, but who knows what he might do. But I know what their needs are, and it will not hurt them to add a little more depth on the defensive line, get a good cornerback, nickel back, like as you said, add a running back. I don't think you need to add a running back in the first round, but I think the options are there and the needs are there. And I say bravo to the Jaguars for picking 24th and not having to put all the stress and the pressure on trying to, you know, as they've been in the past where everything mattered on drafting and having somebody come in for immediate help. They're not in that position anymore, but you would like to see whoever they get at 24th be a contributing player to help this team.
Yeah. Yeah, that's all I want. Bring in somebody who can contribute right away. Somebody, he doesn't have to play a starring role right away, but somebody who can come in and contribute right away. I don't draft any prospects. Draft guys you know can come in and play.
Come in and play. Yep. No
projects.
projects.
Don't draft any projects. No projects.
Yeah, no projects.
No Taven Bryans. No Taven Bryans, please. No Taven Bryans.
No, none of that. And then one more thing, just you don't like. This is a message to Trent Baalke, man. We don't need you to say to us fans that I'm gonna pull one to see and show you how great of a talent evaluator I am, and then we never heard of the player. So don't pull one of them on us tomorrow. Just get somebody that we do know and we've seen them play, you know, maybe preferably in the SEC or one of these conferences. And let's get somebody in here that we know can make an immediate contribution. And as you said, not a project.
Right.
That's all we want.
Yeah. That's it. Hey, Joey Porter Jr. I didn't know he supposedly watched the Jags growing up. So I liked them before that. I definitely like him now. You know, so hey, if the pick is Joey Porter Jr., I ain't mad at that either. I think he might be gone, but by the time they pick, but I take him.
We always want somebody who want to be here too. So
absolutely. So we're gonna wrap it up on this last one, and we're gonna get up out of here. And this is real quick. We're just touching on our favorite diva, Aaron Rodgers. He's finally out of Green Bay. He's finally off to greener pastures. You know, he traded in the frozen tundra for the skyscrapers in the big city living of New York and New Jersey, of course. So it's an Aaron Rodgers trade. Graves, Packers and Jets both get what they want, come out as winners ahead of the 2023 NFL draft. The compensation, though, was not bad. I mean, I think the Jets, the Jets, what they gave up, I don't think it was bad. In order to get a guy like Aaron Rodgers, I think I would pay this price every single time, especially with the young defense that they have. That defense, watching that defense up close, that Thursday night game they played in New York, that defense is legit. No question about it. It is a legit defense, and they just need quarterback play. You got receivers. You just need a quarterback. I think the Jets are ready to win now with Aaron Rodgers at the helm. And so, go ahead.
Say this, man. I'm not a Jet fan, but I do keep up with them. But it's a luxury. It's a luxury, man, that they don't have Zach Wilson trying to lead them to the promised land, and they do have a legitimate quarterback. But I'm curious how this is gonna work, Brandon. I mean, I don't know if Aaron Rodgers is committed to football, man. I don't know if he's, you know, something go wrong. Maybe they get injured early in the season when then he go on the podcast and start throwing people under the bus. Is this young Jet team ready for Aaron Rodgers? You know, it's not a veteran squad. They got a great defense, but I think they're almost like a football team that could go great or can go horrible, and it don't take much for them to go either direction. And I think Aaron Rodgers is not going to worry about, you know, I think he's a free speaker. He's not going to worry about hurting people, you know, saying things to throw young guys under the bus. I think he's still going to speak his mind. And I don't know what reaction that's going to come from this young Jet team, man. I don't know. I mean, I still think he got a lot left in the tank, but his personality, the things that he does, and I saw his press conference. There was a video on just the media attention and how many media people they had at that press conference and how he was greeted today at the facility. And it looked like, man, this guy is like the second coming of a rock star coming to New York to save New York.
Yeah.
I want to see where this gonna go. I want to see. I want to see if this gonna be something great or something that looked like a disaster that's gonna be turned into a disaster in a hurry. So I don't know. I think they're better as a football team with them on paper.
Oh, absolutely. No doubt about it. And you brought up some good points. I'm going to read out this compensation. So, say Aaron Rodgers' intention to play in New York has come to fruition. You say they agreed to send the 4-time MVP to the Big Apple along with their 15 overall pick in the first round, a 5th-round selection in exchange for the Jets' 13th overall draft. So they basically swap first-round picks. So the Jets send their 13th, and then they get the Packers' 15th back in return. They get a 2nd-round pick. The Jets send their 2nd round, their 6th round, and a 2024 conditional 2nd-round pick that will become a first if he plays 65% of the offensive plays in 2023. So he's going to play 65% unless there's an injury or something. So that you're looking at 2 firsts. I'm going to say it 2 firsts, a 2nd, a 6th, and a 6th. Yeah. So 2 firsts, a 2nd, and a 6th. I'm paying that every single time.
Yeah.
Every single time to get a guy of this caliber, to get a guy like Aaron Rodgers. Now, I will, with all that said, I will say I'm an Aaron Rodgers fan. I think that he has the greatest arm talent that the NFL has ever seen. Not the strongest arm, but I think his arm talent is the best. He can throw from any angle. He can throw off script, off one back foot. He has it, man. When it comes to throwing the football, I don't think there's anybody better than that Aaron Rodgers arm. And with that being said, I don't know if his head is in the game, man. I don't know. I'm sorry. I love Aaron Rodgers, but I don't know because the last couple of years, and you could I'll speak to this, Mr. Reed. It kind of seems like he's not in the football like he used to be.
Don't
seem like he got one foot out to me, man. It doesn't seem like his head is all the way in the game of football. Could be wrong. I'm outside looking in.
Yeah.
But man, it doesn't seem that way to me.
Yeah, man, he got his own podcast. He throws darts. He throws passes. He throws. I don't know, man. I feel that this guy done checked out for the last 2 years. I'm just saying. I don't know. I'm just making an assumption. But I don't know if that was the ploy to get out of Green Bay or just cause all type of. I never thought that Aaron Rodgers was a guy who wanted to draw all the attention to himself. And it just seemed like the last couple of seasons. I mean, I think he just been at it to say something crazy or just piss off the Green Bay Packers or something that's overshadowed, in my opinion, what he's done on the field the last 2 years. So maybe New York is, but you know what? New York is New York. And all the attention that he attracted in little Green Bay, just imagine what he's going to say and the exposure that he's going to get now being in New York. He could be Joe Namath or he could be Zach Wilson.
Right. And then there's this quote, and we about to get up out of here. But then, man, it's super weird quote where I think Zach Wilson said, whoever the Jets bring in, he's going to make their life hell in practice. And Aaron Rodgers said on his podcast, well, he's going to make my life hell in practice. I'm going to make his life heaven off the field. I think that's what the quote was. And I was like, what he got to explain that one? I don't know. What is he saying? Like, make his life heaven, like, you getting paid and he doesn't have to play, because that's what it's going to be. Zach Wilson is going to be holding the clipboard next year. Unless Aaron Rodgers gets hurt or they're up by 50 and they don't want to get Aaron Rodgers hurt he's going to be holding the clipboard, learning from one of the greats. So I'm guessing that's what he's alluding to, but I need some explanation on that, Eric.
Yeah, me too. But we've seen the last of Zach Wilson. I wouldn't be shocked if he asked for a trade.
Oh yeah, that's coming. That's next.
Yeah,
that's next. He seems like that type of person. And I mean, I can't blame him. I mean, do you want to stick around and sit behind somebody? That's like right now there's still buzz. And it's like this because of who he is, but there's still buzz about Brady not being done. There's buzz about Brady going to supposedly have an interest in Miami, like he had previously, that he was going to go there until Brian Flores busted it up. There's interest on the San Francisco side. That's his childhood team where he grew up. And they were talking about Miami. I say, well, San Francisco makes sense to me because you could tell, hey, Brock Purdy, we love you. Sit on the bench. Trey Lance, we love you. Get on the bench. But can you do that in Miami? If you do that in Miami, Tua's gone. Tua's going to request a trade if you bring in Tom Brady. That's just what it is.
Well, it's a long season. And, teams are not afraid to get on the phone if the season is, if they like 2-6, and they ask what, inquire about what his interest is. And if this guy says anything, I wouldn't be surprised by it, to be honest. They make a phone call with Brady in October. And he's just been sitting still. And then somebody can pique his interest, like the Dolphins, good weather town, good team, good talent. Shoot, man, if he played for the Bucs, what makes you think he wouldn't play for the Dolphins?
Yeah. Same with San Francisco. Shoot, hey, Trey Lance gets hurt again. Brock Purdy gets hurt, and they down to it. They're down to their last guy. They're down to who was it? I wasn't Josh Johnson. I forgot the quarterback that was in the game for them in the championship game.
Purdy.
But Purdy. Well, no. Who's the backup in that game? He came in and played a little bit. Purdy couldn't even throw the ball, and they had the other quarterback. I can't remember his name, but they go down. Tua gets hurt again, and he goes down. I'm on the phone with Brady. That's just what it is. So, we'll see. But I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Follow me on all my social medias. Follow Mr. Reed on Twitter. We about to get into some of these NBA games that's going on. Oh, Knicks Cavs 96-84 with 6 minutes left in the fourth. Cavs not going away. 65-68. Lakers are down by 3. 7:36 left in the third. So we definitely checking those out. But it's been real, y'all. It's been real. Any last words, Mr. Reed, before we get out of here?
I don't know, but I watch out for them Lakers. I know they down by 3, but I think the Lakers they get past Memphis. Watch out, they're gonna eliminate the Warriors if the Warriors can get by the Kings.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm with that, definitely. But until next time, we'll talk to you guys later, man.
Peace out, folks.
Peace out, y'all.